Hello everyone, Silver Balls here, and today I'm giving my opinion on every Vanguard season. If you don't know what Vanguard is, go search it up, you little weirdo. Okay, uh, so the first season, right? I am currently rewatching the first season as I'm making this video, and I should be still rewatching the first season, even when I eventually upload this video too, because I'm also watching a bunch of other stuff like Mad Person. Right. But the first season actually does a lot of things that most other card games don't do. It it doesn't it barely has any supernatural elements, and that's what makes it special. It's a story where they just play games together at their local card shop. I've never done that. It's not relatable to me, but I would say it is something that really stands out for what it is. And I don't think that it's been able to capture the same magic that was in the original Vanguard season. Even with all the Cyclonia stuff, when that was introduced, yes, it did start getting a little more normal, like in terms of being a card game anime, right? But it still held its charm. And then we got to the Asia circuit, where they just replaced Blaster Blade and Overlord with Blonde Evel and Vermilion. It was good. I won't say that it was as good as the first season. The first season it technically just hasn't been matched by any of the other seasons. Especially not especially not this. I'll get to that when I get to that. But yeah, it held its own, but it wasn't as good as the first season. It did a few things differently. It did everything differently, but the core uh thing still stayed consistent, which is just that most of them are at least normal people. Even, and then we come to this is Link Joker. Link Joker is when you finally have time to properly move forward. Whoa, unheard of. It actually is unheard of in terms of card game, and like Yu-Gi-Oh only did it when Yu-Gi wasn't the protagonist anymore. And I would say Link Joker and Asia Circuit are both equal. Editor balls here from the actually really close future. Um, I absolutely forgot to talk about Ren, the go the user of Dark Paladin, the main user of Paladin at least. Yeah, he's the source of all the weed in the show for the most part, at least until he's a circuit in the first season. Anything that's weird kind of just centers around Ren and the idols, the three idols who I also forgot to mention. There's also Daigo appears in Ace Circuit, and I forgot about that. Common White they got our daybreak. uh it's just like the weirdest thing ever. Like why? Why is this actor suddenly invited? There was I forgot about that three. I forgot about that three two or was it three live action things. I watched one of them. I couldn't find the other one. It was something. It really was something. Daigo was using what was he using? He was using uh, uh Royal Paladin, while the kid was using what was it? Uh, Kagero, and then the villains were using Dark Paladin and uh, what else were they using? I actually forgot. Um, and then one other thing that I forgot about, I apologize. It's the other dark one. What's it? My head not working right now. I apologize. This is just a quick interjection. Hi. don't mean to stall you for long. But one more thing. When after the first season, and I could just make a video on characters instead. So I'm gonna just stop that. Just to keep in mind, when after the first season, it's not the same. He's way more goofy. And there's something I want to say, but I'm gonna save that for a potential character ranking video later on when maybe when I finish my rewatch. Yeah, so wait for that. Yeah, back to past me, right? I mean, the whole. It, I mean, Link Joker was much more of a card game anime than the previous few seasons, simply because they had a whole end of the world thing coming out and whatnot. It all went crazy, but it was still fun. And the Link Joker, the Link Joker clan, is actually the only clan to have a whole. I know technically Messiah did too, but yeah, it's one of two clans to have a season or a movie named after them, which is fun. And well, after that is I'm not sure if yeah, I think Legion Mate was next. I I don't have the same amount of nostalgia for Legion as I do for these three seasons, simply because it was ne I only watched it last year, but I would say it was good. It was good, and it also made me appreciate a certain other season that I'll get to later more, because it's equivalent for that for wait yeah, it's equivalent for that more or less, even though it's way more it's way more Ball City. And I was just pointing at the wrong season. I forgot these are two different seasons and not the same season. Okay, next up is the movie. The movie, uh, I, all I remember is that Ibuki bad, and then something gets beaten and then becomes. I barely remember the movie. I need a rewatch for the movie. Hopefully, I'll get to it during my rewatch of the rest of this series. But I would say, as far as memory serves me, it was cool. The animation was obviously better since it was a movie, and I think it does take place in between the end of the original saga and G because of the clothes and stuff. So I think it's same tier as Legion Mate. G Season 1, this is where I began Vanguard, believe it or not. It came out around the middle of Buddy Fight, so it should be 10 years old. It's 10 years old, guys. I watched G, but then I went back, watched everything else. And G, the first season was pretty good. Not to the level of uh that, but it's not close. So I think I can put it in the same tier. So I'm not gonna, because G season 2 kept it up, right? Not too much in terms of supernatural stuff. It was just a bit with Chrono's whole thing with his cards. And then was she next first or this first? And then there's this too. So I'm gonna just rate these three together since they all just slop together for me. It wasn't a good time. It wasn't a good time. I barely held interest in the shows. Like these three are just slop for me, which is why they go in this tier. Like even when IG came back, I barely cared. Doesn't help that Buddy Fight was so good. And then we get to the V series. Bad, bad readaptation. What were they doing with it? They just made Psycholia more prominent, which is what they shouldn't have done. They shouldn't have made Psycholia as prominent as it was. And they also removed some great plot, like uh, great parts of the main story that could have really benefited. You know, Archie using Dark Paladin, if I remember right, and also they just remove what's basically the entirety of Asia Circuit, and then there's the Link Joker equivalent for that. Let's just pair this up. Yeah, it was all worse than the slop. The only thing better was the animation, but even then I preferred the original series animation. It did nothing good. This, on the other hand, perfection. Perfection. It was something new, but also had the older, took place in the older place without any bullshit, without a lot of bullshit going on. Although some of these people, I'm sure none of them, except for these two, well, maybe her, show up in the later series. It's funny. I mean, earlier series. And then there was this, which was basically the equivalent for the VCs for Legion Mate. This was also better than this, but it wasn't that much better. It was whatever, most whatever thing. And speaking about whatever, I didn't add the other uh overdress overdress shows seasons because it was G all over again. It just became a slop after the first season. I'll have the first season a bit higher just because it was interesting, and then it went downhill. And on the other, Divines was really good. Can't wait for season two. But Divines has the supernatural element, which admittedly the overdressed series didn't have. But even though it didn't have that, it just didn't recreate or even create something similar to what the original series had. It didn't even get close, right? And these three, I would say, are the three best Vanguard seasons. Although Divines might drop depending on how the later seasons do, because it's all interconnected at the end of the day, right? But yeah, Divines was one. Gosh, now that I think about it, again, Divines is like high A, while these two are like the peak of Vanguard, one and two respectively. This is the Bermuda Triangle thing that I still haven't watched to this day. So yeah, that's it. That's how I ranked all of the Vanguard seasons. Though, if I was to say one thing, uh, everything below here is just shit. It's either slop or shit. That's and that's it's less than half, which is why I can say I enjoy Vanguard, even though I barely even played the game or even have any cards, which is funny because like I'm a Vanguard fan. I've watched Vanguard for over 10 years. 10 years. It's a long time. I wonder what else has been 10 years. Hmm. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Goodbye. See you later.